We had already started this section last time. In fact, we had done what this Madonna had to narrate to Savitri. But then we'll just quickly see a couple of significant phrases which have come here in the introduction. Important phrases. Ascending still the spirit's upward route. Upward is within. At upward, in the inner countries, upward. She came into a high and happy space, a white tower of vision whence all could be seen. So you can imagine how she is riding on a tall, she is seeing everything from the tall tower, and all was centered in a single view, as when by distance separations grow one, and harmony is made of hues at war. So when you see each color separately, then you see that they are kind of mismatches. This color does not match with this, with that you see. When you see individually, but when you see from a distance, all the colors, they kind of merge into each other and produce a very beautiful, harmonious scenery picture, you see. And a harmony is made of hues at war, black, red, white. See, if you see individually, they cannot jar you separately. But when you see from a distance, they kind of merge and produce a harmony. The wind was still and fragrance packed the air. Very sweet line, you see. The wind was still and fragrance packed the air. Very sweet line and perfectly iambic line. The wind was still and fragrance packed the air. The beat is rhythmic, absolutely. There was a carol of birds and murmur of bees. So, well, he uses for the bees he uses the word murmur. Normally we say buzz, bees, you see. Murmur of bees. And all that is common and natural and sweet, yet intimately divine to heart and soul. So, she is already in the proximity of the soul. This is basically, I will say, more a psychic atmosphere than spiritual. This whole wind was stilled and fragrance back there, carol of birds, murmur of bees, common, natural, sweet. These are psychic qualities. So she is really climbing upon the psychic quality, yet intimately divine, therefore to heart and soul. In nearness thrilled of the spirit to its source, and deepest things seemed obvious, close and true. So you get that kind of an intimacy and association and oneness with them. Here, living center of that vision of peace. Now, this is one of the most powerful phrases. That is why I wanted to come back to this beginning. Vision of peace. You see the whole atmosphere full of peace. It's a very unique kind of a phrase. Vision associated, peace associated with vision. You don't feel perceive, but you see the whole thing, you see. Actually what happens is, at that point, all the senses, all the cognitive faculties kind of become one. I can also say sound of peace. I can say vision of peace. I can say taste of peace. I can say perfume of peace. I can say touch of peace. You see, all the faculties become one. That is the beauty of poetry, the vision of peace. A woman sat in clear, and it is a very, very unique phrase, vision of peace, you see. A woman sat, but of course here, as I said just now, vision is representative of all our cognitive faculties. A woman sat in clear and crystal light. Heaven had unveiled its luster in her eyes. So you can imagine how great that lady must be. Now, why he has used vision of peace? Because he is going by the association of light, eyes, bright sun. So, you see, there is a kind of an internal consistency or description. If you take the image of sound, then all the descriptions will correspond to sound-related things, you see. So, there is an internal coherence of all these phrases, description, you see. Heaven had unveiled its luster in her eye, and obviously, what really matters most is a vision. Perhaps it matters more than sound, because it is a vision by which you penetrate and see things within, inside, outside, you see, by vision. When mother is looking at you, she looks into your eyes and she says that through the eyes she can go deeper and see your soul directly, not through the ears. Not through the ears, through the eye. That is the closest passage to go inward, you see, the passage of light. She looks into the eyes straightway. And you are also supposed to look into her eyes. Straight. Her feet were moonbeam, her face was a bright sun. Her smile could persuade a dead, lacerated heart to live again and feel the hands of calm. Her feet were moonbeam, her face was a bright sun. Now you can imagine how lustrous, how beautiful, how powerful, how bright that woman must be. Her face was a bright sun, no clouds, nothing, just blazing in its brilliance, in its whiteness, ardent color. Now, there is a sort of a balance here. Her feet were moonbeams. She used to walk with those feet, you see. And her face was sun. So the whole thing, whether the lower part, so to say, dark, still it is the light, the sweetness, the ananda rasa of the moonlight, even in the lower part, was a bright sun. Moon and sun, in one of Shivandu's small composition, he describes earth, how the earth is, goddess earth, or the planet earth. And there he speaks of the earth as a woman, her earrings, lobes, you see, moon ring and sun ring. He speaks of, on the left side is the moon ring, on the right side is the sun ring, you see. So that is the kind of thing, moonbeam and sun, you see, he has described now here top to bottom, you see, from feet to the face up, you see. The whole picture of it. That earth, let me read that, it's a very beautiful line, beautiful poem, short one, only 4 lines, and Shivandu was trying this as a kind of a metrical experiment when he wrote these 4 lines. Oh, but fair was her face. Her stands for earth. Oh, but fair was her face, as she lolled in her green tinted robe. She is wearing all these green trees and flowers and all that, and she is wearing that robe and moving all around. Oh, but fair was her face, as she lolled in her green tinted robes, emerald trees, sapphire seas, oceans, emerald trees, sapphire sea, sun ring and moon ring that glittered and hung in each lobe. Sun ring and moon ring that glittered and hung. So it must be really big rings, you see. Yeah. Sun ring and moon ring that glittered and hung in each lobe. See, lobe, this part. So that is why you pierce the ear and then put it. So here we have got, see, very slightly. Now you can see the quality of the poetry also. This is what I'm trying to say. This description is basically lyrical. Sun ring and moon ring is lyrical. But this description, her feet were moonbeams, her face was a bright sun, is not lyrical. It is epic. It is epic, you see. There is a difference between the two, you see. The poetic quality is different. The description, the content may be the same, but the language, the rhythm, the movement is of a different quality altogether, you see. Sun ring and moon ring that glittered and hung in her each lobe, you see. Glittered and hung in her each lobe. This is a lyrical description, you see. Whereas here, her feet were moonbeams, her face was a bright sun, kind of goes on narrative like that, you see.
The sun is right.
Huh?
Right.
Sun is self with the ring.
Yes, but right. On the right. On the right here.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I will put right.
Yes, sun.
Sun. And here moon. Yeah. Well, I mean, the poem starts with sun ring and moon ring. So, sun ring and moon ring. That glittered. So you can see the whole orb itself is a ring and it is hung. So you can imagine, you can draw a painting, like a painting of it, you see. Sun ring and moon ring that glittered and hung in her each lobe. But basically, I will say from a spiritual point of view, this phrase, vision of peace, is something which is never presented by any spiritual description in the entire spiritual history. That it can be a vision of peace. You had a statue of Buddha emanating peace. The whole place is full of, but you don't see the vision of peace there. You feel peace there around that thing. Feel it. The vision of peace is something very concrete, more concrete than the perception of peace, the feeling of peace, the touch of peace. So when you see in the cave, huge big statue of Buddha, the whole cave is practically empty, absolutely. In fact, what we have got in Ajanta caves, huge statue, the whole hall is practically empty, but you really feel peace there. There's no doubt about that. The face, everything is so made that it radiates peace. The peace sort of flows out from that thing. So the experience there is the experience of feeling, of touch. You feel your body, your physical feels the peace. You don't see the peace there. You don't see the peace there, you see. So this vision of peace was something which I thought we should really try to acquire. And then of course we saw that few forms, few forms of God, how they floated and came around. Last time we saw that, you see. Freedom, valor, martyr, courage, prophet, seer, beauty, truth, riches, eternity, infinity. So these are the forms, figures, personalities, deities, gods, beings, basically. I not say gods, beings, forms. Now, she was concluding her speech, her presentation, her narration with these 3 lines. Then love shall at last unwounded tread earth's soil. Man's mind shall admit the sovereignty of truth, and body bear the immense descent of God. Very futuristic, very powerful lines here. He said, then shall love tread earth's soil unwounded. when all that is done, I shall save earth if earth consents to be saved, then thou shalt walk here unwounded. As long as earth does not offer that cooperation, that collaboration, that consent, does not give that consent, love walks here wounded, deformed. It becomes vital. But this is goddess of love, who cannot come here. As I told you many times earlier, around 1946-47, the mother of love wanted to descend on the earth. She was very keen. She would have almost come down also. But she found that the earth is not ready to receive her. Had she come there in 1946, she would have walked with wounded feet. She would have walked with wounded feet, you see. So, the entire focus of yogic pursuit was to see that earth's soil becomes ready for her to come and walk. Earth's soil becomes ready. And Sri Aurobindo's yoga started becoming more and more focused on that aspect. She wants to come, but we are not ready here to receive her. And that preparation is possible. She will come and walk on the earth's soil without getting wounded only when you have the necessary light all around, the supramental light presence. In the absence of supramental light, supramental power, supramental presence here, she will not be able to walk properly here. So, in order to prepare the earth for that purpose, that she comes here, the first condition is establish the supramental power here and light here. Only when that is present can she then walk on this earth soil without getting wounded. And therefore, see how scientific the whole pursuit is also. You have got kind of a difficulty, a certain situation, you want to overcome it, you have to tackle it, you go back to the cause and then try to work out the necessary mechanism for achieving that sort of a thing. So, the pursuit, in fact, this is what we have got in the whole of record of yoga, how Sri Aurobindo goes systematically from one step to the other step. Of course, we being people with man's mind, this is what we are. We do not admit the sovereignty of truth. Mind cannot admit the sovereignty of truth. If this is the condition, then why does she lady dare to come and walk on the earth? It must be a little adventurous on her part. She knows people are not ready and all that, and yet she wants to come. Yes, why? In other words, she is miscalculating something. Unless man's mind accepts, admits the sovereignty of truth, she better not come. She does not realize that. See? She does not realize that. But there is the aspect of love. Love does not count on what you are, whether you are prepared or you are not prepared, whether you are ready or you are not ready. It's love. It's love. It does not count. Grace, it is not that you deserve grace. If you deserve grace, then it is not grace. If you deserve grace, then it's not grace. See, I mean, if you are foolish, if you are stupid, and if grace comes, then that is real grace, you see. That is what love is. That is what love is, you see. She is not counting on those things. But then the practical situations happen. She wants to come just for the sake of love. That's all, you see. And therefore, the whole strategy had to be changed in view of that, you see. And ultimately, body bear the immense descent. See, body can bear the immense descent of God only when mind admits the sovereignty of truth. Your mental faculty has to be fully ready for that. You should be open to the supramental. You should be open to the supramental. Then the physical can open itself, you see. The mind or the body has to open to the supramental light. The physical mind. Then it can bear the descent of God. The mind of light is to be first established there. Then other things can happen here. Now, body bear the immense descent of God. Obviously, these lines were written around that time, 1946, 47, 46. This whole canto rather, you see. So you can see the yogic implications of these statements here. He is already talking of body bearing the immense descent of God. Now, obviously, the descent of God had taken place in the body, in the physical of Sri Aurobindo, long before this, long before 1946, long before this mother of love wanted to come in 1938, August 1938. You can say roughly in the first week of August 1938, whole of his physical was charged with the supramental light and force. Mind, heart, feet, everything, brain, everything was charged with the physical. Until then, the supermind was coming, going, coming and going, coming and going. But it kind of got now fixed at that time in 1938. But that was for the individual, for Sri Aurobindo. That was for Sri Aurobindo. And he said that, look, I don't need a supermind for myself. I don't want it for myself at all, because I don't need it. I am always there. It's always there. Whatever I want here for the evolutionary soul of the earth. And the real difficulty was there for the evolutionary soul of the earth to bring down the supermind. And it is for that a different approach was necessary. And the first step in that context was to fix the supermind in his physical and make that thing as a dynamic power in the operation of things. And that is exactly what he did on 5th December 1950. He fixed the supermind in his physical, locked it here. Now you can't escape. Mr. Supermind, you are here now, trapped in the samadhi. You can't escape now. And it is from there it has to work. It is from there. For the purposes of the collective realization. All that for the purposes of collective realization. And the mother says, we do not understand what glorious sacrifice he had made. He abandoned his body. He would have got all the realizations here himself as an individual, as a person. He abandoned his body for the purposes of the earth. That is sacrifice. All that you have done is for the earth, is what Mother says to him.